how to self-coach. That's what we're going to talk about today on this edition of Tuesday Talks with Twyla. So if you don't have a coach, if you haven't hired a coach to help you get anything that you want in your life, then you should be self-coaching. But what I've noticed is probably the number one, I guess, resistance maybe, or objection is I don't have time. And even when I meet new prospects and they win packages or they go through the sales process with me, having time to commit to coaching is one of the top reasons they don't actually hire a coach. So I want to show you today how you can build in self-coaching without it being this huge time commitment. And as I realize how I self-coach and kind of have dismissed some of these objections or the resistance, it dawned on me today as I'm listening to my coach describe how she self-coaches, which is very similar to how I do, that people don't realize that it can be this easy, that it can be the small pockets of time, that it's not an hour every morning when you wake up and an hour every night before you go to bed. That self-coaching and being intentional with your thoughts and managing your mind and managing your emotions can be something you do in passing all day, every day. It can be built into your life, integrated into your life, not this appointment on your calendar, not this segregated time where you can't do anything else. And I kind of realized that I was doing this, but I wasn't tracking or, paying super close attention to this. But I realized that especially when I'm in the car or especially if I'm on long trips, but anytime like brushing my teeth or in the shower, those times where I'm doing something, but I have the mental capacity to be thinking about something else, I am. I'm thinking about how am I feeling? What am I thinking today? What do I want to accomplish today? How do I want to set my day up for success? And at the end of the day, how do I want, to reflect on the day, be grateful for my day? How do I want to set up tomorrow? How do I want to wake up in the morning? How do I want to focus my mind before I go to sleep? I'm doing all of that. Now, I don't, go back to bed an hour before my husband and sit and do, journal and write it all out. I don't always do that. Now, when I feel like I need to write it all out, I'll, grab my journal and I'll do that while I'm having coffee in the morning, while I'm, sitting there, having some show on TV that I, not paying that close attention to. I build it in, I integrate it into my life so that I'm doing the work. And that's the goal here. The goal here is for me to teach you how to integrate this in your life, because when you do, it just explodes the possibilities for you. It maximizes the dream life that you want, the possibility of getting what you want, and managing how you feel every single day. When I hear my clients and my prospects and even like my friends and my family talk about things that frustrate them or things that are challenging for them, and you can feel the negative emotion layered in there, and how they're going about their day, how they're dreading going to work, how they wish their life was different, or they wish this thing was different. And my first thought is they could change that by changing their mind. They can change their mindset, they can change their thinking, and they will have a different experience. The work doesn't have to change. The people at work don't have to change. The situation, whatever it is for you, doesn't have to change. But you can change your experience without ever involving anyone else, your spouse, your family, your kids. your coworkers, your boss, right? And when you do this and you realize how easy it is, that's when it can become just integrated into your daily routines, into just being part of your life. Now, does that mean that I coach every single day, that I self coach myself all the time? No. And that I never have a bad day or I never have a situation that I wish was different? Nope. It's not like fairy dust, right? There's work involved, but and there isn't days that I wake up that I'm just wake up in low energy. I just wake up down and I don't pick myself up, right? Because our brain, if left unmanaged, that's what you might be experiencing. That is what leads to the negativity, the negative thinking, the negative experience. Your brain is always like an unmanaged mind. The way I like to think of it is just a dream sucker, because anything that involves getting what you want in your life and living your best life is going to include doing some work and feeling some discomfort. And your brain doesn't like that. Your brain wants to stay comfortable. Your brain wants to stay lazy. And your brain loves to wallow in the negative thinking. That's its go-to. That's the survival mechanism. So it's default. That's where it's going to go. That's where it's going to automatically go if you're not managing it. And so, and part of, like, I always think that part of knowing that is the comfort in knowing there's nothing wrong with you. Nothing's gone wrong. People like me or my coach, we are not without negative thinking or bad days. That's not at all what I'm saying, but I know how to change it. I know how to manage my mind so I can experience life the way that I want, that I can show up, that I can change the experience, and it's all within me. The potential, the possibility is all within me. I don't have to hope and wait that something else changes. I don't. I'm not. And it's not that I don't ever fall into that, right? Into that line of thinking where, God, I just wish that was different. Oh, I wish, that person wouldn't act like that. Right? Absolutely. I'm human too. So it's not that it eliminates that, but I know what to do with it. I don't live there anymore. I don't wallow there. I don't get down and then stay down for days. Now, do I stay down for a day? Do I stay down maybe for a couple days? Yep, until I realize, like, whoa, what am I doing here? Snap out of it. And then I start doing the work again. So what does this look like? What is self-coaching? So I do have, I always have this as a free offer. It's what I call the Model Express version, and it's a mini 11-minute training on how to coach yourself, and it walks you through the components of the self-coaching model. If you want that, just send me a message. I'd be happy to share it with you. Because when you understand the components and you see their relationship, that can kind of help give you a better foundation here. But the short version is our thoughts create our results. And in between, our thoughts create our feelings, which drive our actions, which create our results. So that's the model, right? Circumstances are neutral, and that's usually what our thoughts are about. But when we're doing our thought work, when we're doing our self-coaching, we're managing those thoughts. And we're looking at what we're thinking, and we're deciding if we want to think that. And when it's related to the circumstance, which when you're doing this work, and this is why I recommend that you grab the 11-minute training, because I spend some time talking about how the circumstance is neutral. And a lot of times what we want to do is say, like, our boss is, or our coworkers are, whatever, and we label them and we want to put that in the circumstance line. And as soon as you do that, you've lost all your control, you've lost all your power. The circumstances that you have a boss, your circumstances, you have coworkers, right? It's neutral, it's bland, everyone would agree on it, including them. And then all the work is yours to do from there. What are your thoughts about your coworkers? What are your thoughts about your boss? And all of that is available to you to change, right? So the thought work that we're doing and being intentional about this is seeing what we're thinking just automatically, like what's just there, and what do I want to be thinking about, right? And so, like my boss, my coach likes to call it a sentence in your mind. And what is that sentence? That's the thought, right? So, what is that sentence in your mind? And sometimes you just, know what it is and it comes easily. For me, sometimes it doesn't. And so I struggle with that. And so what I'll notice is the emotion first. And I'll be like, whoa, like the littlest things will set me off or trigger me, and I'm irritated, I'm annoyed, and I'm, just instantly crabby. Some of that might be hormones and all of that kind of thing plays into that, right? But I'll notice, whoa, like my emotions are heavy, they're, stronger than they should be, like what's going on here? And then I start asking, why do I feel that way, right? I'm looking for the thought, looking for the sentence in my mind. Now, am I like running to my room and closing the door and sitting down with my journal? No, I'm doing that while I'm doing whatever else, right? Like getting the stuff out to start cooking supper. Something will annoy me. So I'm doing this work in my mind while I'm doing that, while I'm driving the kids to school, while I'm on my way to work, right? While I'm doing something else, I'm managing my mind. So I want to debunk the myth that you don't have time for this, because you absolutely do. You have your teeth brushing time, hopefully a few minutes there, your shower time, your drive time, your grocery shopping time, your cooking dinner time, right? And if you actually look at all of those minutes, and if you are managing your mind, and I'm not going to say at all times, but in any of those pockets of time, and even if you picked one pocket once a day, right? The change would be massive. And when you feel the change, you're going to be like, well, why haven't I been doing this whole time, right? Because you can instantly feel better, right? And I'm going to argue that if you do this work and you don't feel a shift, then you're not doing it right. You're not engaging in it. You're either surface level, or you're maybe taking a look and you're kind of distanced from it. But I want you to dig into this. And that doesn't mean that you can't do it while brushing your teeth, doing it while you're in the shower, right? But I want you to be emotionally connected to it. I want you to be present for it. I want you to attach your mind to these concepts and really get into the work and take a look at the thoughts and decide if that's what you want to think, and then be intentional about what you want to be thinking, right? Because that's probably one of my favorite parts of this is deciding. I mean, maybe I don't have any thought work, like something that I need to fix or that I need to have be different, but I just want to decide, like, what do I want to focus my mind on today? I want to be productive, so I want to make sure that I get this, and this done, that I've got organized times, pockets of time, like when that's scheduled, when, on my calendar, when I have these things, like I build up the excitement and desire to do these things. And I'm going to, right? Like I've kind of just set my mind on, like, this is what we're going to get done today. And I'm excited to do it. And when I do that, the schedule doesn't feel like a rigid schedule. I'm excited about it. I build up the desire for it. And I'm just rocking through doing this and then doing that and doing this and doing that. And at the end of the day, I feel so much more productive because I was intentional about doing the things I wanted to do, because I had the desire behind it. And on the days when I just show up and this is what's calendars, this is what I do, and this is what's next, and that's how I go through my day, more like kind of like a robot, right? I don't feel as good about my day. Like I look back and I'm like, okay, I got these things done, but I just, it feels different. The emotional charge of it is completely different. There isn't that gratitude and that pride and that sense of accomplishment. It's just the day's over. This is what was done. It's more, I don't know. It's just more like matter of fact and less emotionally charged. And that's the difference. I build up that desire. I get excited about what I want to get done today. And that's even when there's things on my calendar that I don't enjoy doing, right? But I set my mind to, I'm going to get this done today, and I'm excited to get it done. And this is why I'm grateful for this, or I'm grateful for that, right? Job security or whatever it is, whatever stretch that you have to come up with, but building up that excitement and that desire that's part of this thought work. That's part of my intentional thinking, directing my mind of what do I want to be thinking today? What do I want to be thinking about my day? And anchoring in gratitude every chance you get is just that is an energetic shift all on its own. And being grateful for things is kind of a blissful place to live. It's a blissful place to experience. And when you look at the things that you have to do and you switch it to I get to do, right? And you can be grateful for the pockets of time, like when you're taking your kids to school and those few minutes in the car alone with them, whatever way that you can look at it with gratitude and presence, it's going to shift the way that you feel, and it's going to shift the way that your day goes. And that's how you experience life differently, right? So let's say you have this issue at work and you're dreading going to work or you're dreading certain people. What if you changed that thinking around those situations? What could that look like? What do you want it to look like? In a dream world, what could or would that look like? Right? If you're dreaming and you could build the dream however you want, nobody can say, no, that's not possible. You could just dream what it would look like. And the situation, the circumstance doesn't change. You still go to the same job, the same people are still there, right? What would that be like? What would that feel like for you, right? And what I want you to understand is only you can change the way that you feel. So when Sally shows up the way Sally shows up, the way you think creates how you feel. And that doesn't mean that you have to like the way she is or like her as a person, but if you can change the way you think about her, you will feel differently when you walk into work. And the experience that you have there all day will be different. Now, that's not to say this is a one-time thing that you do this work and you change the thought and you have a good day, and the next day she says something different and you spiral right back into your old way of thinking, right? Not uncommon, right? Our brain wants to go to familiar, it wants to go to the common, it wants to revert. And you just know that. And then maybe you don't catch it until the end of the day. And you get home and your husband's like, hey, how was your day? And you're like, ah, and you catch yourself. You're like, well, I just wanted to spiral into launching into how Sally was this way and Sally was that way. And you stop and you go, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to have a different experience at work, and I want to manage my mind around all of these thoughts. And that's where all of the power is to change your experience. And it's not instant. It's not one time. It's work. It's ongoing work. And I know that that's a lot of resistance to committing to hiring a coach or committing to a coaching practice. It's just like, committing to a workout routine or a healthy lifestyle, right? It's a daily thing. We have to, decide our exercise, our walking, our diet, what we eat, what we don't eat, right? We get to decide all of that, but it's not that we lift the dumbbell one time and now we have muscle, right? It's ongoing work. And I know, because it is for me, that there's resistance around that. Like, why do I have to do this all the time, right? I mean, I exercise, I lift 3 times a week, and then I try to walk every day. That's my goal, right? And I pay a trainer, so I, have scheduled time with my trainer. And so that's 3 times a week, and then we try to walk every day. In the winter, that gets tough, but those are my goals. And I find myself frustrated that, like, even 3 times a week sometimes doesn't feel like enough. I'm not building strength at the rate that I want to. I'm not, I'm still struggling sometimes, or certain exercises are still challenging. And especially when you've like ebbed and flowed with your fitness. And so you've been at a certain level of fit before, and you're, maybe rebuilding or coming, I'm coming back after an injury, just different things. And I find myself frustrated. And so I get that. I understand that level of frustration, that this isn't easier, that it isn't faster. But I will tell you this, if you were just doing it minutes, but every single day, you're going to notice that you're going to do it more without realizing it, because once you feel the impact, you'll do this more and it will become your go-to, right? It'll become your solution. It will get your attention that, oh, there's an opportunity for me to take a look at what's going on here. And it'll just build into that integration in your life. There has to be some intention from the beginning, but it will become part of how you live. And making the decision that you want to. And next week, we're going to talk about decisions, because I feel like this is one of those places where, again, people just live in that, what my coach always called the miserable maybe. And there's so much research about what that does to us when we don't make a decision, when we just live in that land of indecision. And I think sometimes we convince ourselves that not making a decision is actually making a decision, and that's not true. And we don't recognize the amount of energy and the amount of like internal turmoil that actually happens while we're in that like area of indecision. So we're going to spend some time talking about that next week. But when it comes to self-coaching, you have to just set the intention. So I'm going to ask you that today, because I know that this work will change your life. And just committing to finding a pocket of time, whether it's your shower time or your teeth brushing time or your travel time, finding time when you're already doing something that would allow your mind to just be running, right? Like right now, what is your, sentence in your mind when you're on your way to work? Is it positive? Are you excited? Are you, planning your day and building up the desire and excitement for what you have scheduled on your calendar that day? Is it dread? Is it, stress, right? What is it? And so what I would offer then is, you're already doing this, right? You're already thinking, right? And I always love to say, like, are you breathing? Then you're thinking, right? Because our mind is like, how many thoughts a day, right? Our mind is always thinking. But what is it that we're thinking? So it's not like, you have to find this time where you were doing something else that now you need to do that. No, you're always thinking. So instead of thinking this, we want to be thinking this. And we want to be directing our thoughts. We want to be intentional with our thoughts. And we want to build that awareness around what we're thinking. And I know that it might not just come intuitively, that we need to be asking, like, what am I thinking right now, right? And that might not resonate for you. So you can do it either way. What am I thinking or what am I feeling? And you're going to find thoughts either way. And so I think sometimes it's just easier to just be like, what am I feeling right now? Like, how do you feel every morning on your way to work? How do you feel, every morning in the shower preparing for your day, or when the alarm goes off, right? Or when you set your alarm the night before? Like different times where you notice a certain negative feeling, negative emotion, discomfort, right? What is that? What's there? Why? And find out, like, what are we thinking? What are the thought patterns, every Sunday night or every Monday morning, right? We have those times where it can feel like it just, I guess, kind of comes out of nowhere. It just engulfs us, or it just takes us over. And especially with emotion, it can feel like it just comes out of nowhere. And that's why I love starting with that, because I feel like, I kind of feel like it's more sneaky. And so when I notice, I can be like, oh, I kind of feel like, oh, I'm on to you. Like, I'm figuring this out, right? And so if the emotion, starting with how you feel, resonates more, what is the sentence in your mind, or what are you thinking right now? And the goal of all of it, right? Our goal always is that we get to experience the best life available to us, whatever that looks like for each and every one of us, right? We don't want to spend our days feeling stressed, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like we hate our job, we hate our boss, we don't like this, we don't like that, and our life is just, this is how it is and this is how it has to be. because it doesn't. It can be whatever you want it to be. You get to decide. And I feel like when I say that, and when I work with my clients, it's like they get it, yeah, but also like there's resistance to doing the work. And that's why I wanted to bring this today, because this is the work. This is the redirection of our thoughts, or the awareness of what's going on with us that we have the ability to change. We always get to, right? I want to caution you on this one thing. When we find when we either go through the thought work and then we find the emotion, or we start with the emotion, one of the things that can kind of happen is we're feeling a certain way and we don't want to feel that way, right? And I'm teaching you, right, to find the thoughts that are causing the way that you're thinking or the way that you're feeling. And I'm telling you that you can manage that and you can change that and change your experience, right? But I want to caution you that we're not, and I have a different Tuesday talks about thought swapping. And where all of this is managing our mind, I do want us to take the time that if we have negative emotion that comes up, that we're not just trying to find the thoughts just to change them, just to feel better. Because what you'll find is that emotion will just keep coming back. And it will do that until you give it the attention that it needs. And usually this is like minutes as well. But the way to get that resolved isn't to like avoid it or try to stay away from it or just thought swap it away so that we can feel a different way, is to give it our attention. Invite it in, allow it, acknowledge it, name it. This is how it feels for me right now. This is what color I'd give it, whatever resonates for you, but let it be. Don't try to push it away. Don't try to immediately change it. And that's how you'll get it to move on. And you can still take a look at the thoughts that are causing it and how you're feeling and why, and just allowing the process. And that's what will process it through. That will be what lets it resolve itself and dissipate. But when we resist it, when we avoid it, when we try to just change our thoughts to change how we're feeling, that will just keep coming back. And that's how you'll know one of those things that like, oh, this is something that needs my attention because I just felt like that yesterday, right? And I know I was doing this. I had something that, like, for me, it's early in the morning. It'll wake me up really early in the morning, usually an hour or two before my alarm is scheduled to go off. That's when I'll wake up in like a panic or something, negative. And I'll just wake up with like this pit in my stomach and like this intense like pressure in my chest. And it's just like, oh my gosh. And, my goal at that time is just to like calm my mind so I can go back to sleep. And it just kept happening and happening. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to lean into this. Like, okay, I feel this pit in my stomach. I feel this pressure in my chest. It feels like I can't breathe. It feels scary. I feel like terrified. And I name it and I describe it and I just allow it. And it's okay. I'm laying in my bed safe. It's okay. It's okay for this to be here. I'm okay. And I'll still like try to figure out like what were the thoughts that caused it and like why is this here and what's happening and understanding it all, but always from a place of compassion and just awareness and like learning. And so like my coach just said, like invite it in for some tea. And her analogy was it's like it's banging on your door outside and we're closing the curtains and locking the door instead of just opening up and allowing them in to come in and have some tea. And I get that, like, I have a lot of clients that have like huge resistance to feeling the emotion. Like they would rather, eat a bag of chocolate chips than feel like whatever uncomfortable emotion. And then how do you feel, right? Like then you feel worse. But that uncomfortable emotion, it doesn't just go away. You didn't soothe it, you didn't heal it, you just covered it up, right? And so you want to come at this with the understanding that this is our human experience. Some things are going to feel uncomfortable, but it's not going to hurt me. And I can just allow it and then it'll move on. And I can continue to be progressive in my thought work, in my emotion work, and living my best life, living the experience that I want to create. And the amount of time that we spend just feeling our emotions like that is so minimal. But the amount of time that we spend managing how we feel when it's negative like that, I mean, if you look at the amount of time that you spend feeling whatever it is, uncomfortable, negative emotions, stress, or maybe anger, or, whatever would describe what that is for you, how much time do you spend there? And so I'm going to use that, right, as the argument that when you tell me you don't have time to do this work, I'm going to throw the bullshit flag, right? Because you're already doing it. You're already thinking and feeling all day long. I'm just asking you to decide what you're thinking on purpose. Decide how you want to show up at work. Decide how you want to feel while you're there all day, right? And manage all of that in your little pockets of time, not dedicating an hour a day for this practice. Not at all. I don't do that, right? I don't. And on the times when I actually sit down and do pen to paper, it's while I'm doing something else. It's at night while we're sitting down with the TV on, or it's in the morning while I'm sitting there drinking my coffee. So I don't have like to carve out segments of time to do thought work. That's not how I do it. That's not how my coach does it, right? It's something that you can do. I'm going to argue that you're already doing right now. You're already thinking while you're in the shower. You're already thinking while you're brushing your teeth. You're already thinking while you're driving to work. But what are you thinking? What do you want to be thinking? How do you want to be feeling? Do you want to be feeling excited on your way to work every day? Like when I say that, what is the first thought that comes into your mind? Like, that's impossible. Like, there's no way. Not with that work, right? Work would have to be different. If I had a job like you had, yeah. No, right? You get to decide what that is. And then maybe when you do this work and you do all the work for yourself, you realize that, like, this is not something I want to be around, right? This isn't somewhere, these people aren't. And then you can make a decision about your circumstance, right? Because that's available to you too. But when you're stuck in this kind of cycle, let's call it, if you don't change your thinking and the way that you're feeling, you could change your circumstance and show up with the same thinking, right? And I want to caution you about that, because that's what I did. I changed my circumstance, but I didn't change my thinking. And I felt the same way. I felt the same stress, the same overwhelm. I carried that with me. I didn't change that. I had to change that even though my circumstance changed. I still had all of that work to do. So yes, if your job changed and you got your dream job and everybody was perfect, your thoughts are going to change, right? Like when you meet them and you're like super excited about them and you have all these new people and you have all these new thoughts about them, right? And then you show up differently. And I just want you to notice that you're giving all of the credit to the circumstance changing. And that's just not the reality. The reality is your thoughts changed. Now, it was easy to change your thoughts when the circumstance changed. Or you might think it's easy, because sometimes it's not. Sometimes you carry that with you and you show up in that same like negative bias. And even though you have this new job and all these new amazing people, you show up the same way. That's absolutely not what we want, right? And that's why I want you to do this work. I want you to manage your experience right now with everything staying exactly the same. And you do the work to create the experience that you want. You do the work to create everything in your life and live your best life, whatever that is, right? It's different for everyone. What would that look like for you? What would your ideal day look like? And what would you need to be thinking? And you can be thinking that right now, right? Now, notice if you're like, well, no, I can't be thinking that if I don't have that. Yes, you can. You can. Like, that's the beauty of our imagination. That's the beauty of us being able to, think whatever thought we want and believe whatever we want. And when you notice your reaction when I ask you some of those questions, like, what is your resistance to being open to this possibility? It's all available. Of course, you won't achieve it if you don't believe. If you don't even think it's possible, you won't even try to do the work. And if you're trying to do the work while you're thinking this isn't going to work anyways, you're right, it's not going to work. You have to believe and think positively and make the changes and decide this is what you want. And that's how easy it is. That's absolutely how it can be integrated, how it can become part of what you do every day. It can be that easy. And I say easy, I should probably say simple. It can be that simple. It's not always easy. It's not always easy for me who does it on a regular basis. There's times where it's hard, right? There's times where the emotion is heavy, right? I'm not immune to any of that. I still have low days. I still have struggle days. I still have days where my energy is just tanked and I don't do the work. I fall into that trap of like, and sometimes, you can have like a setback where, you just have like a little bit of a negative day. And then there's times where you can just fall in the hole, right? And not even have a clue of how to dig yourself out. And that happens to me too. And without, right, even trying or realizing like what happened, like it can just happen. But once I realize, whoa, this is where I'm at, and then I do the work and then I dig myself out of the hole. And it's a choice, right? It's not I'm meant to be here. I guess this is, this is how my experience is supposed to be. No, that is not ever my thought. My experience is supposed to be what I want it to be, what I decide it to be. I decide for it to be excitement and pleasure and desire, and it's everything I want it to be. Because when I think that way, then it is, right? I create that for myself. I create a day where I'm excited to show up. I'm excited to get on here and talk to you guys. I'm excited to show up in my membership and coach my people. I'm excited for all of it. And I'm excited for the things that, I don't love to do, the admin stuff or the, whatever, administrative tasks and things like that aren't my favorite. I build up the desire to do those things too, right? We all have things in our life that we don't care to do, that we don't love to do. But if we come at it with a different mindset, it's a different experience. And that's available. Try it with something like that first, maybe. Maybe if something like that is like, maybe, okay, I'll try it with like, doing the laundry, something I don't love to do. It's not my favorite thing. Or cleaning the house or cleaning the toilets. Nobody likes to clean the toilets, right? Let's try it with that, right? Let's just try to take a look at what we think about it and how we could change those thoughts and maybe change the experience, right? This is a 5-minute thing. I mean, our goal isn't to like love, cleaning the toilets. Maybe our goal is just that we don't hate it, that we don't dread it, that we don't like, spend all of this energy, thinking about how come I'm the only one, or why do I always have to do it, or why can't they just always, meet the mark? Like, why is this always such a mess? Like, if you just clean all that up and be like, okay, today I'm going to clean the toilet. I'm excited that I have people in my life that use my bathroom, that, I'm healthy and agile and I'm able to do this stuff. And I'm thankful that, I have the water and the tools, and all I got to do is like, I've got the disposable wipes and it's pretty easy. I just wipe it down and throw it away and walk away. Whatever you could change your thinking to, and then just notice the experience and how it's different, right? And notice anytime you have resistance to it, or you have some kind of like negativity around making the change, and get curious about that. Like, what's holding you back? What is the block between where you are now and where you want to be? And is it just something simple like that's not available to me? Or you say that, yeah, but it's easy for you, right? Like, what are those thoughts around making these changes, doing the work to accomplish the thing? And know that all of those are thoughts, and those can all be changed. Every single one of them. You can decide what they are and change all of them. This is all available to me. This is how my human experience was designed. It's designed for me to decide. It's designed for me to create the life that I want. That's how God created us. That's how our human bodies are designed. We have all of this available to us. We have the survival brain that's defaulted to survival and negative thinking, but we also have the prefrontal cortex where we get to decide everything that we want and have in our life. And when we do that, we direct our mind in that direction. That's where we go, right? Instead of living over here in negativity land, we can change our perspective to positivity, and we can create a different experience. That's available to all of us. And if you don't want to believe that's possible, why not? What is the worst case scenario? You believe it's possible and then what, it doesn't happen for you? And what makes you think that if you changed your mind to be thinking more positively, that that isn't a positive thing all by itself, right? Because you're experiencing positive thoughts and positive emotions as you're changing that thinking. You've changed your experience. You've gotten to experience, right? Something more positive. And if you've had a lot of negativity in your life, or you've had a lot of like loss or sadness in your life, just know that we all have, right? I lost both my parents by the time I was 30. I don't have a lot of family. So, right? I mean, I've had a lot of loss. I've had a lot of sadness, and I don't let that dictate my life. I can be sad at times, and I can mourn things, and I can be down, and I can have low energy, and I can change all of it when I want to. And there's times when I don't want to, right? There's times when I just want to be sad and I want to, give my attention there. And then there's times where it's like, okay, but I don't want to live there. I want to live here. I want to live the best experience I can have for my life. And I want to create that every opportunity I get. And when I'm intentional about it, then it just comes easily, simply. It's not always easy. So I hope that you find ways to integrate the self-coaching into your life, and you find the pockets of time that are already there, the time that you're already thinking. What are you thinking about? And how can you change that to change your experience? And as always, if you have any questions on any of this work, I am always here to help and support you. And if you want my free 11-minute self-coaching express, just hit me up for that. I would be happy to share it with you. It's just 11-minute training. It walks you through the model and how to use it, kind of sets you up for, some things that, we can get things a little wonky in there. But it just helps you set that foundation and that framework for the self-coaching practice. And that's what I want for all of us, is to have the experience of our life that is everything that we want it to be. And we all want. Sometimes we don't let ourselves, we just don't allow ourselves to dream. And that makes me so sad, because it's all available to us, but we have to open our mind to it, or it definitely just won't happen, right? It's not something that falls out of the sky. We have to do the work to get it. So I hope that you will. I hope you find the pockets of time. And if you need anything in between, please do let me know. Until next week, have an amazing week.